Use hashtag CFB to get your questions on the show. National Signing Day coverage just for you guys. We're staying late in the office, late in the studio. Harrison Graham, James Yoder, breaking it all down. Let's get a little Q&A for you guys.
Can we get overtime for this?
Yeah, I know.
Subscribe.
Double pay, yeah. Make sure you're subscribed. Let's get to the first question here from Eli. Should the playoff be expanded to 16 teams where every conference champ gets an automatic bid? No,
I don't think so. I think 16 is crazy.
Much.
I actually don't really like necessarily both things. These things can't happen. Even if they go to 8 or 6, I don't think you can say every conference champ and a group of 5 team wins or gets in.
Well, in that case, he's talking about all 11 conferences. He's talking about the MAC. He's
yeah.
talking about the
I get that. I didn't really get that at first, but that's just a crazy thing in general. But if you're going to expand the playoff, you can't just make it where, oh, wow, an 8-5 USC team just comes out of nowhere and wins the Pac-12 title game when they have a really bad Pac-12 South. And so they're in the playoff, and so is that 10-2 Miami of Ohio team from the group of 5. I don't like that. I think it should be the best 4, 6, or 8 teams.
All right, next up here, Raw Fusion. Prediction for Texas Longhorns next season. The last 2 years, 10-4 last year, took a step back, 7-5 this year. I'll say somewhere in the middle of that. Maybe they're an 8-4, 9-3 type of season. I wonder what the standard for athletic director Chris Del Conte is for Tom Herman next season, because clearly he is on some sort of a hot seat entering 2020, basically forcing him to get 2 new coordinators, which, by the way, they still haven't gotten an offensive coordinator as we're filming this at the moment.
It's kind of crazy when people think. I don't see the kind of year I would have expected them in year 4.
This is year 3.
Yeah, so number 4 next year. I don't see the kind of team coming back I expect to compete for a national title. So in year 4, a lot of other coaches are doing it. You think about the college football playoff this year. You got Oklahoma's coach in his 3rd season. You've got Clemson's coach or LSU's coach in his 3rd season, Ryan Day in his 1st season. So year 4 under Tom Herman, I'm not sure what's going to go around. I'm predicting 8-4.
Yeah, I think the shine has worn off there a little bit. Garrett is next up. What do you guys think Georgia should do with their offense? I don't want to blame it all on one guy. I don't like Jake Fromm. I think he's the same guy he was as a freshman. I haven't seen any improvement. I think his freshman year when they went to the national title arguably might have been his best season.
Yep.
I don't have the numbers in front of me, but he looked like a much more confident player than he does now. I want to see what that offense looks like with a different quarterback. Think about this. Justin Fields transfers, Jacob Eason transfers. You could argue both are better players at this point. Eason, maybe not, but for sure Justin Fields, there's no doubt about that. Better option than Jake Fromm. I'll be curious to see what the offense looks like post-Fromm, because I think he'll declare for the draft.
They've got Stetson Bennett, the 4th, coming in, a top 200 player, into the class. But nevertheless, they are thin at quarterback.
Yeah.
If Fromm goes pro,
transfer
you know
market,
what you're getting out there
Derek
from them.
King,
so
maybe?
I think they need to switch the offense up, because what they're doing is not going to be Alabama, Clemson, or Ohio State, or Oklahoma.
Yeah, just running the ball and playing defense doesn't win in 2019. Jay Williams next up is Oregon. Going to have a top 5 defense next year. Look, they were top 15 this year. Mm-hmm. This is not the Chip Kelly, let's outscore you 52-48 Oregon Ducks anymore. They want to run the football, control the clock a little bit, and play defense and be balanced on offense. I know I just said you can't win just running and playing defense. Obviously, they threw the ball well with Herbert as well, but they've got good recruits coming in on defense, 2 5-star linebackers. They're much more of a physical program than they used to be.
They've recruited much better on defense in the past couple seasons, since they got the new coaching staff, Mario Cristobal there, than they have really in the history of Oregon football. So I don't know about a top 5 defense, but I think they've got a good enough defense to win the Pac-12. You do that with 1 loss or less, you should be in the college football playoff. And if your team's in the college football playoff, or if you want to hook up a friend, family member, or loved one with some awesome deals or some awesome gifts this holiday season, take advantage of these deals, up to 50% off on college football gear. You got this Ohio State Nike hoodie. You got the Clemson number 16 jersey. I'm not sure who that's for, but nevertheless, $25 off that bad boy. It's only $75 a Nike one. You got this Texas Longhorn burnt orange Nike hoodie, or the Michigan football coaches Game Day 2019 Game Day hoodie.
Citrus Bowl gear right there.
Up to 50% off. There's some awesome deals. I have outfitted many members of my family with these deals. We encourage you guys to take advantage of them now. Act now. Christmas is a week away. You don't want to be the one whose Christmas present shows up on the 27th. You got to hand it to somebody, 4 days after Christmas, and they're like, "Oh, thanks that you forgot about me."
Save it for next year at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Chatsports.com/NCAA gear. Get going now. Buy something tonight. Make sure it's there for Christmas. Choose that shipping option to get delivered before Christmas. Hashtag CFB from Eli says, true or false, the American Athletic Conference is better than the ACC.
Tom and I actually debated this a few times when we would do our weekly CFP ranking shows. Make sure you're subscribed. If you take Clemson out of it, is there even a question, right? I think the depth of the American this year was actually better than the ACC. Obviously, you can't say, oh, Clemson doesn't count. Clemson carries a lot of weight on its own, but Virginia, we saw what the second best team in the ACC, how they matched up against Clemson in the ACC title game. They lost 62-17. So the American, in a lot of ways, depth-wise for sure, in my opinion, was a better conference this year. Let's go to TRU. 16 would be way too many, but 8 would be good at the most. I am an 8-team playoff truther. I know you said you don't like the whole 8-5 Pac-12 champ. How often would that actually happen? That would be my point. And my point would also be, I would rather that be the case and take decisions out of 13 random people's, I just don't like these 13 athletic directors and a couple of other folks who have,
Condoleezza Rice is not random in my book.
A big college football nerd she is. I want more clear parameters. That's what I want. Take it out of these people's hands. They can decide for the at-larges. 5 Power 5 champs, 1 group of 5, 2 at-larges, call it a day.
Show this commenter some respect. Active in the comment section, but you call him TRU. TRU Louisiana, dog. You got to give him some respect for a great name. So make sure you subscribe. Type S in the comments if you guys have subscribed to the channel. Trying to get to 147,000. I have heard the or else is not going to be good for Harrison and I, but most importantly, will not be good for Dylan behind the scenes if we don't get there. Tyler Avon has the next question. Next year, Oregon is playing NDSU. Can NDSU win?
Well, Chris Kleiman's not there anymore last time I checked. I know they're still keeping it rolling, having another good year in the FCS. No, they're not going to win that game. Give me the Ducks. I think Cristobal's building a good
This is ripe for a freezing cold takes right here when NDSU wins 38-20.
Well, speaking of freezing cold takes, Raw Fusion, what's going to happen? What happens if we don't hit your goal? You don't want to find out. I know I don't want to find out.
I've been told it'll only affect you guys negatively by not having the kind of content you're looking for. But Raw Fusion, let's just say it's holiday season, and some of us are trying to enjoy our holiday season and not make it a bad time. So if you like what we're doing here, if you appreciate the show, go ahead and subscribe. It literally costs nothing. We're within 100. That means we've got over 50, around 50 subscribers this show. But you guys are letting us down a little bit. I thought we've been doing an okay job for you, a bang-up job, and all we can ask for you guys is subscribe. So if you're feeling like you're being you're in the holiday season, you don't have to send us a sweatshirt or a t-shirt or a jersey. You have to buy. I'm not asking for gifts, which a lot of these people, have you seen some of these videos, these people on videos, wink, wink, they're asking you to send them gifts. You know what that's about.
Yeah, that's
all we're asking for
news.
is a sub. This isn't OnlyFans. This is YouTube. Hit the sub. It is free. And we will be only fans of you guys if you subscribe to us.
I don't know about you. When I got here, it was dark outside. It's going to be dark when we leave. We're putting in the mad hours here at Chat Sports.
There is a cloud over my head right now.
No half-ass in it here at Chat Sports. Hit the big red button. If you don't know what we're talking about, you're literally watching the video right now. It's right below the video to the right. Right below to the right. Hit the subscribe button. Get us to 147K. I don't want to dust off the resume. The chatter is may have to find new employment, so that could be what the or else
Sources
is.
in my ear. Oh, you don't want to know. Or else.
Triple H sucks, and so does NXT. That's the longest username I've ever seen on YouTube. Subscribe. 16 playoff. 1 versus 6, 2 versus 5, 3 versus 6, 4 versus 5. That actually doesn't work.
That doesn't make sense. So 6 is playing 2 games. 5 is playing 2 games. So the only way it would work is it was like the NFL where 1 and 2 got a bye, right? So
I don't hate that format.
You can do 5, you can do 6, whatever. 6 or 7 doesn't really matter, but you can't have all the teams play if it's that kind of even number. But that's the question. Triple H sucks, and so does NXT. I don't know what that means. But Tyler Avon coming in. How's Purdues Class? Well, Purdue got a nice class last year after the Ohio State win. They got a 5-star in George Kerfalopoulos, whatever his name was. But Harrison is our resident expert on Purdue's class. I've been told he's a Boilermaker. So tell us about Purdue's class.
Yeah, watched them a lot this year, especially when TCU stomped them in week 2. Number 30th ranked class, so pretty good. Got 3 4-stars, several 3-stars in the class. I like Jeff Brom. I know this year did not go well for them, but he's still, in my eyes, one of the more up-and-coming coaches in college football. Losing Rondale Moore really hurt them this year, the speedy wide receiver who torched Ohio State a couple of seasons ago. Elijah Sindelar, their quarterback, was in and out of the lineup. They got to shore up that position, but got some good players coming in. Top 30 class for Purdue, which a few years ago in a lot of ways was kind of like barely ahead of Rutgers and Kansas on the Power 5 scale, I would say.
And when you think about Purdue's class in a lot of ways, the top 5 class in the Big Ten last year, number 7 in the Big Ten, 30 in the country, but better than teams like they're ahead of Iowa, Minnesota, Northwestern in the last 2 Big Ten title games, ahead of Michigan State. So certainly
ahead of Baylor, who almost won the Big 12 this year.
So
good class coming in.
Talent enough where they could be competing for Big Ten West title next year beyond.
They should at least be a perennial bowl team, in my opinion. I think they've got enough talent coming in there. So Jaquel Holman, what SEC teams will make the playoff next season? Next year, this is a good question. I haven't looked ahead because we don't know what Alabama's going to look like next year. Who's playing quarterback? Is it going to be Bryce Young? Is Tua going to come back? I don't think he will. LSU, they're riding hot right now, but they're losing Joe Burrow. What happens there? Does Auburn take the reins in the SEC West? Does Kirby Smart in Georgia get back into the playoff next year? Florida, Dan Mullen, they're doing good. I think there's a lot of options of who could come out of the SEC next year. I don't think it's just Bama and everyone else right now anymore. I think there's several teams that could contend to win the SEC and make the playoff next season.
I got the producer in my ear. They said that the audience is calling for this question. They're begging for it with the teams they're following, so we got to ask it. Which is the better conference? And you can answer if you want to answer this year. You can answer if you're thinking eternally, for best conference, not for our time, but for all time kind of thing. Better conference. Harrison, with not a dog in the fight, what's your answer here? S for SEC, B for Big Ten. We want to know from you guys, which is the better college football conference?
I do think these are the best two, and over the last decade or so, I think the results would prove that. Now, if you're talking purely recruiting, it's the SEC, but on the field this year, you could argue the Big Ten was better. I mean, I think you could argue Ohio State was just as good, if not better, than LSU, the best team in the SEC. The depth was pretty similar, in my opinion. Bama was down. I think it's close. Now, if you take the last 5 or 10 years, I'd still lean the SEC, but I think you could go either way here. I do think these are the 2 best in the country. I'll type S for SEC, but I think it's pretty close.
Now, I'll go S for SEC, but if you take away the recruiting advantage the SEC schools have. You know what I'm talking about.
That CHEAT word. You know what that's all about.
We should change the type S for SEC to just $sign, right?
Like
okay,
$sign. Newton back in the day. That's where it all started.
Got a lot of S's, got a lot of B's coming in. Answer below. The best conference in college football. I think it's for sure one of these 2 ones. I'm going to say SEC for now. But I think the Big Ten certainly has put their stake on 1B as their conference in college football. Guys, we've got college football bowl games starting this weekend. Get going with our sportsbook partner, chatsports.com/bet. BetDSI is the sportsbook partner, 120% deposit bonus. Do you know what that means, Harrison? Can you imagine going into a local bank and say, I'd like to start an account with you for $100? They said, well, here's an extra 120. You've got 220 now. That's what BetDSI does. Get going with that promo code CFB120 at chatsports.com/bet.